In June 2014, a Harvard University Boston Children's Hospital study was published in PLOS.org, stipulating that children who have had regular musical training are at an advantage in a wide variety of disciplines in school. According to the Waco Tribune, their findings indicate that playing an instrument seems to promote the brain's executive functions, which contribute to a person's ability to pay attention, manage time, organize thoughts, and even regulate behavior. This study corroborates the value of music education in our society. According to the study, executive functions are cognitive capacities that allow for planned, controlled behavior and strongly correlate with academic abilities. They also include cognitive flexibility and the ability to adjust to novel or changing task demands. While a thorough analysis of the study is beyond the scope of this presentation, as a musician and former high school AP student, I have a lot to say about the value of music education as it relates across the disciplines. My own musical training began at the age of 4 on the piano. I started violin at the age of 6. Lessons were held weekly in both instruments throughout most of my childhood. Cleveland Heights High School, my alma mater, as you can see now being rebuilt, had one of the largest and oldest music departments in the state of Ohio. Oddly, it never occurred to me at the time how unique it was that most of us in the AP and pre-AP classes also had been playing an instrument since childhood. This study shows that this is no coincidence. So let's examine what these executive functions are, how they are developed in playing a musical instrument, and the value of music education as it relates to all non-musical subjects. Number 1. Planned, controlled behavior. On a very broad level, music students are taught how to achieve a big goal by breaking it down into manageable, small parts. I see this in 2 ways. A. As technicians, music students learn how to play an instrument. The teacher gives him or her weekly assignments which must be mastered through repetition before one is able to move on to an assignment of higher technical complexity. Over years, perhaps thousands of small, graceful movements are harnessed to allow the instrument to be played with ease and efficiency. This skill relates particularly to math. How many of us remember the pages of repetitive addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division drills we had to do? For those who do not quite understand what I'm talking about, I am referring to pages of similarly typed math problems that we were required to do in the 2nd grade. Over time, the idea was that we would get faster as we became more proficient. Yet, there is another skill that is perhaps even more necessary than Part A above. B. In order to truly learn something, anything, we need to understand what it is that we are doing. As a child, or adult for that matter, grows, the capability to understand complex concepts increases if the brain is challenged. As a teenager gets older and rightfully questions authority, he or she gets to the stage where it is important to find a purpose for his or her work. A child, however, if encouraged, will naturally gravitate toward what is fun. A skilled teacher and supportive parent will know how to achieve that healthy balance between fun and discipline so that when the going gets tough, the student won't let frustration cause him or her to quit, and the parent won't let this happen either. What music lessons teach us, therefore, is a sense of a greater purpose and perseverance. This greater purpose for a musician can be learning how to play an entire piece of music, understanding a piece of music, not the same thing, or learning how to communicate the piece to an audience. Going back to our math analogy, students are not simply taught math so that they can do arithmetic drills. In my opinion, the challenge for many math teachers has been to make the math relevant to students using the principles above. If a teacher approaches a class with a problem and takes them on an adventure that the children relate to that involves learning how to do math problems, the kids will immediately see the application of the subject. Unlike math, the beauty of music is that from the outset, the student knows that he or she will be ultimately making music. In math, there is usually no immediate application envisioned by a young student. Then, when our kids get to high school, many take physics and chemistry and learn the principles without going through the same kind of journey or discovery. Then they are told to apply the principles that they have learned, really memorized without understanding, to an exam or homework assignment without having ever experienced ahead of time how to apply the lesson. The misguided teacher, who means well, thinks, "Heaven forbid that I take them for a journey ahead of time and give all the answers away before the test." I say, if done in the correct context, give the answers away first and let the kids understand them through guided problem solving. This will set them up for success, rather than the dreaded spoon-feeding of material that many teachers are afraid of. The alternative is to create mind-numb parrots who learn how to score very well on exams, but have no in-depth understanding of the material as it relates to serving the world. Number 2, cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility is definitely a great skill taught through music lessons. From my experience, a concert violinist has developed 4 types of perception to an extremely high level: oral, visual, tactile, and kinesthetic. If this isn't cognitive flexibility, I don't know what is. All parts of the brain are synchronized in perfect harmony to produce a virtually flawless performance. What else could you ask for in achieving any academic task? Number 3, the ability to adjust to novel or changing task demands. In order to see to it that the wishes of the composer are carried out verbatim, the student has to have the ability to control his or her body to the utmost degree. A composer will ask that the musical interpreter plays softly, loudly, with long sounds, short sounds, quickly, slowly, etc. The brain has to be able to handle all of this in a fraction of a second. In fact, while practicing an instrument, the student learns even how to anticipate the demands of the composer before the note is played. Otherwise, it's too late. This level of flexibility results in great application in school. A well-rounded education is what we refer to when we talk about curricula that incorporate all subjects. The Waco Tribune states that a practice called interdisciplinary education, a big thing in some universities these days, operates on the assumption that fields such as literature, history, philosophy, and science aren't as sealed off from each other as contemporary education has treated them in the past. Nothing could be further from the truth. A well-rounded individual will have the ability to pull many skills together from various disciplines and apply them to a larger whole. In conclusion, the crux of both musical and non-musical education relates to the necessity of building up a shared purpose in the classroom or music studio so that the fruits of one's labor can be celebrated with actual results and, best of all, purposeful understanding.